Today we're talking about the new Realme 5 Pro that was just launched in Malaysia, as well as some new Surface devices that Microsoft recently announced. The Huawei Mate 30 series is also now available for pre-order in Malaysia, and Maxis has signed an agreement with Huawei for the provisioning of 5G networks in Malaysia. For more juicy details, stay tuned on today's episode. The Realme 5 and Realme 5 Pro has officially been launched in Malaysia, with pricing and availability now available for the two mid-rangers. The Realme 5 Pro will be available in a single variant of 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage for a price of 1,099 ringgit, which retains the same price as the Realme 3 Pro at launch, but with more RAM. It's powered by a Snapdragon 712 and features a quad camera setup at the rear. This includes a 48MP main camera, an 8MP ultra-wide-angle lens, a 2MP portrait lens, and a 2MP macro lens. For selfies, you get a 16MP front-facing camera housed in a dewdrop notch. A large 4035 mAh battery can be charged using 20W VOOC Flash Charge 3.0 via USB-C, and you still get a 3.5mm headphone jack on the 5 Pro. Screen-wise, it comes with a 6.3-inch Full HD Plus display. The Realme 5, meanwhile, will be priced at 799 ringgit for the variant with 4GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, and 599 ringgit for the variant with 3GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. It features a Snapdragon 665 and comes with a large 6.5-inch display that only pushes a resolution of HD+, unfortunately. The Realme 5 also has a quad camera setup, which includes a 12MP main camera, an 8MP ultra-wide-angle lens, a 2MP portrait lens, and a 2MP macro lens. The big selling point here could be the huge 5000 mAh battery that the Realme 5 has. Online sales are exclusive to Lazada for both models, and the pre-order for the Realme 5 Pro is available till the 11th of October, with online sales to begin on the 10th of October and offline sales to begin on the 11th. The Realme 5, meanwhile, will be available on the 17th of October. Overall, they're both two interesting mid-range propositions that come at reasonably affordable prices. Microsoft also unveiled a slew of new Surface devices, with a new Surface Laptop 3, a Surface Pro 7, and a Surface Pro X. In addition to that, there are also new Surface earbuds and the Surface Neo and Surface Duo. The Surface Duo is essentially a foldable tablet meets phone, has phone functionality, and runs on the Android OS. It has two 5.6-inch displays merged with a 360-degree foldable hinge and will be coming during 2020. The larger Surface Neo, meanwhile, is another multi-screen device that combines two 9-inch displays with a hinge and will run a new software called Windows 10X. This isn't the same thing as something like the Galaxy Fold, as the screen isn't actually foldable in itself. It will also be available sometime later in 2020. And we've got the two new Surface Pro 2-in-1 devices. First up, the Surface Pro 7 is powered by Intel's 10th Gen Core processors and feature memory configurations of up to 1TB of storage and 16GB of RAM. Microsoft has also included a USB-C port on the Surface Pro 7 that promises up to 10.5 hours of battery life. The Surface Pro X, on the other hand, is a pretty interesting device. It's the first Surface device to feature the Microsoft SQ1 processor, which is based on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8cX. It promises up to 13 hours of battery life, and Microsoft says that this is supposedly the thinnest, lightest, most powerful, and most connected Surface ever. Pre-orders for both Surface Pros are available in the US now, although we don't have local pricing or availability news yet. We've also got the Surface earbuds, Microsoft's new productivity-centric wireless headphones. These are Microsoft's first truly wireless headphones, and they have a number of interesting features, including Office 365 integration. However, they don't offer any noise cancellation, passive or active, which Microsoft says is by design for workplace use. Lastly, there's the new Surface Laptop 3 with a 13.5-inch variant coming with a 10th Gen Intel Core processor and a 15-inch version that will be powered by AMD's new Ryzen Surface Edition processor. Malaysia is the first country outside of China to officially launch the new Huawei Mate 30 series with two variants available. The variant with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage is priced at 2,799 ringgit, while the variant with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage is priced at 3,899 ringgit. Pre-orders for the Huawei Mate 30 Pro are now available along with exclusive gifts worth 1,155 ringgit. This includes a Huawei wireless in-car supercharged charger, a DJI Osmo Mobile 3, a Huawei back casing, and Huawei Care that provides a 1-year extended warranty and 6 months screen crack protection. However, the pre-order process is a little tricky, as only Huawei Mate series users that have owned two Huawei Mate series devices in the past will be eligible for the offer. Maxis and Huawei signed an agreement yesterday for the provisioning of 5G networks in Malaysia, and the ceremony was watched by Prime Minister Tun Mahathir Mohamad. This will allow Huawei to supply 4G LTE and 5G radio equipment and services to the local telco, which will allow Maxis to modernize its current 4G LTE network to be 5G ready. MCMC has indicated that the 5G spectrum will be determined as early as Q1 of 2020. If everything goes well, the commercial 5G spectrum will be ready in the second half of 2020. So that's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit the notification bell icon so that you can stay updated on any future news. If you want to watch the last episode of ICYMI, click here. Or if you want to watch something else that's pretty cool, click here. So that's all for today. I'll see you next time. Bye.